Hey, good morning. This is Joe from Citrus County Porch Life, bringing you the AA word of the day. I'm just showing you a panorama. It's very cloudy, very humid. I am taping this early. I am taping this on the 14th. A very, very dear friend of mine's father died, and the funeral services are going to be Tuesday. So this is the Tuesday edition, and I want to be there for him. A very, very nice guy. He's got much seeing difficulties and he does so much in his life. So what I'm going to do is I'll switch so you can see me. There I am. I was blocking the camera. And yeah, so his mother-in-law just died last week, and now his father died. They had hopes that he was going to be able to make it. They made plans for him to go home on hospice, but the cancer had spread everywhere to his bones, his liver, his lungs, and his brain, and he just never made it home. He went very quickly. So that's what I will be doing Tuesday. So I'll get this done now, and I won't have to worry because they'll have a service and then the cemetery and then something at the house, so I may be gone most of the whole day. Okay, a word of the day today is freedom from fear. And again, this is September 17th, 2024. And the quote is from the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions of AA, page 122. When with God's help we calmly accepted our lot, then we found that we could live at peace with ourselves and show others who still suffered from the same fears that they could get over them. 2. We found that freedom from fear was more important than freedom from want. And here is a reflection commentary. Material values ruled my life for many years. During my active alcoholism, I believed that all my possessions would make me happy, yet I still felt bankrupt after I obtained them. When I first came into AA, I found out about a new way of living. As a result of learning to trust others, I began to believe in a power greater than myself. Having faith freed me from the bondage of self. As material gains were replaced by gifts of the Spirit, my life became manageable. I then chose to share my experience with other alcoholics. This is a really amazing reading. I'm a very nerdy guy. Like I said, I majored in math and physics, and my life became unmanageable. I was trying to think, and I always think of it in scientific terms. I was thinking of a satellite. It's happened many times. They go up, they work for 20 or 30 years, but they become unstable, unmanageable, and they crash and burn on Earth. And it's not a perfect analogy, but I think it's a good analogy for ourselves and what happens to us with drinking. We're going along smoothly for a long time, and then we start to have problems upon problems upon problems upon problems. And finally, Alcoholics Anonymous calls it having a bottom. Some people call it crash and burn. And that's what happens. And and one thing I wanted to do, for those of you who are new, who have never been to an AA meeting, many of them follow the same format. If you go to a speaker discussion meeting, at the beginning of the meeting, there will be what they call a preamble of Alcoholics Anonymous. And in terms of verbiage, what a mathematician would say about it is it's elegant. It says an awful lot in a few words. And it's right to the point. So I'll read that for all of you who aren't familiar with it, or for those who are familiar with it and haven't heard it in a while. This is the preamble of Alcoholics Anonymous. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problems and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. And that says it all. That you're not going to get charged to go to a meeting. They may have raffles to help support their book ministry, but you don't have to give. In fact, I had a lot of old timers when I started with AA, and they said the basket passing around, if you needed $1, you could take $1. I've never done that. And these days, in the cashless society, it's harder for them, and some groups have had to come up with a method of raising actual cash money, because it also says that each group must be self-supporting through its own contributions, not accepting outside gifts. So you can't take a gift from, like if you're close to a hospital and they want to give you money, but contributions from other alcoholics. So that is the preamble. I really, really love that. And I've heard it so many times, it's stuck in my mind. And material values. Material values ruled my life for many years. I made very good money in the job that I had. I can't complain about that. I started off a very poor kid. We had one bedroom for the boys. And at that time that I was living at home, there was 6 boys, 2 bunk beds. So some of us had someone in our bed with us, and there were only twin beds. And so I got a very good job in IT, and I made a lot of money, and I made more money as I went along. And I started to accumulate things. And my first thing was to buy 2 apartment houses. That was okay. I made extra money on the rent and everything, but it was a pain in the neck taking care of all the problems because I worked a lot. And then it was, I like books. I bought a lot of books. I bought a lot of vinyl records. I got a nice, always looking for the next best stereo up. And I'll tell you, I accumulated so much stuff, it was very hard to find a place to put it. And the weight of records and books is something. And eventually I moved out and I moved to a house where I had an old 3-horse barn to store all the stuff that I wanted. But I filled that up. And then as I aged, I started thinking, how am I ever going to get rid of this? I don't want to die and leave it to someone else to have to get rid of all this stuff. And I had a big yard sale before I moved to Florida, and no one wanted anything. The stuff that I had, I began accumulating. I graduated from college in '71, and I moved to Florida in 2018. So I had all those years of accumulation of good, and I couldn't get rid of them. The books I had to get rid of because I really downsized. I went from 3 rooms to 5, and square footage was a lot less. I've become to appreciate e-readers. I can carry I've got a 1 terabyte micro SD card on one of my e-readers, so I could carry 10,000 books, and it'd still weigh the same thing as if I didn't have anything on there. So actually, the material possessions can make your life unmanageable, because it was terrible trying to move down here, and I didn't want to give this stuff away, but eventually I had to, and throw all my old magazines. I know one wants an old National Geographic. Half the world's geography has changed since 2000. Well, since I was born anyway, all the new countries, and it was just. I kept my records though. I've got them in storage, and but I have a very modest record player that plays CDs, tapes, and records. And mostly I have my Perry Como albums out. I'm a big Perry Como fan. So, but then when I got sober, that's when I began to think of these things. We're all on a journey. And the people that can make the most progress on a journey are the people that are pulling along a sled full of possessions. And that story was told to me by an Orthodox priest about letting go. And I thought about it, and it's so true. The road in front of my house is a quarter-mile long. So I put everything in the house, on a four-wheel truck. I'm not going to make the same time I did if I just did it, me walking up there. So living in this less material world is, a lot less stressful. It helps you manage your life better. And it is definitely a new way of living, doing more with less. I can get free books in the library. I don't have to spend, I'm limited now. I'm reaching that peak, 75, then I'll be inching down to 80, and I don't need all those things. I'm not taking them with me when I go. No one ever takes anything with you. That's why, even though my car got damaged, I'm keeping it. It's going to stay that way, and I'll drive it into the ground. One, I don't want to get used to another car. After having one for 18 years, I'm so comfortable. I could just reach my hand out, and I know where things are. And I don't like paying more taxes than I have to. So, that's my take on this. Freedom from fear. The accumulation of material things can lead to fear. You got to worry about it when someone steal it. Well, I lose it. I get the best iPhone. It's $1,800. It's got this much storage. And I know a friend of mine who left it on a commuter train to Boston. Never saw it again. So there's a lot to be said for simplifying your life. Staying in a sober mind frame. Not complicating things. Not complicating your life with things that can threaten your sobriety. So if you like it, subscribe, hit like. If you always wondered what an AA meeting is like, go to one if one's close. If you don't have that option and you're stuck at home, I'm here. If you have any suggestions of something to cover or literature to go over, we can do that. I plan on, after a year of doing this, I plan on getting another book and following that for as long as we can, and just mixing things up, because having been in AA for so long, I realized that some people don't like the big book, some people don't like the step book, some people don't like as Bill sees it. But if you rotate them, you find something you like. something you can relate to. So God bless. I hope nothing happens in between now and Tuesday. As I said, I'm making this early so I can be with my friend through all the services for the death of his father. God bless you all and stay safe.